This episode is brought to you by Battleborn Batteries, the best name in the RV and marine industry. These lithium batteries are designed and assembled in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. The best solution for your battery anxiety, so go check them out at battlebornbatteries.com.
Whether your adventure is on the road, on the water, or off the grid, Battleborn batteries keep you out there longer.
You are listening to Beyond the Wheel, a podcast about the people and ideas that drive the RV community forward.
Hi, everyone. We have a great show for you today. Are you adventurous, enjoy hiking, biking, and being in the great outdoors? Then you will want to listen to today's episode with Janco, the CEO of Surviveware. Janco and his wife Amanda have created a line of first aid kits designed for the outdoor enthusiast. These kits are made to be easy to carry, whether that be on you, on your bike, or vehicle. They are also made to be very user-friendly, with zippers that won't let you down, and easy-to-read interior layout, so you know exactly what to grab when you need it. They have even created the world's first durable soft pouch first aid kit that is waterproof. Janco chats with us of how he and Amanda created the company, how they design and test the products, and how they stand out from some of the major players in the first aid line like Johnson & Johnson. Okay, so that's enough of me chatting. Let's get to Janco and get this episode started.
Hi, Janco. Welcome to the show. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Surviveware?
Sure. So I'm from South Africa originally. I grew up there. You know, growing up, South Africa's got a big outdoor community. Growing up, enjoying hunting, fishing, camping. My parents, self-efficiency were pretty instilled in us. My parents would just trust us when we were 14-year-old boys they dropped us off at the bushveld and left us there for a week by ourselves. And that's sort of how we were introduced to the outdoors. After school, I studied to be an accountant. I did that for 4 years. And after that, I decided, listen, the numbers are a bit dull. I want to do something. I want to do something a bit more. So I went to go work on a yacht in the south of France. That was really nice. And that's where we were introduced to first aid, CPR, and firefighting and things like that. Because when guests come on board and there's kids around and you take care of them, you need to know these things so that you're prepared. If anything happens to them. And while in France, I met my now wife. She was teaching English over there, and we went away on weekends and did a lot of backpacking trips in around Europe. We also went to Asia and Africa. Yeah, and so that's, I want to say 4 years ago, we decided, okay, where do we want to live? We want to plant some roots. So we came to the US. Yeah, that's when we actually started the company. So, I'm the CEO of the company and co-founder, coming from an accounting background, involved with bookkeeping, finance, and then from there, that's what came naturally to me. But then also design, sourcing, making sure we have enough inventory, making sure we have enough money to buy this inventory, marketing, social media, website design. So I've got my hands in everything. But then obviously I can't do everything. So we have got some great people in the team, and I'm just making sure that they do a great job and that the machine keeps on rolling forward.
So was it just the two of you that started then, or did you bring in a group right away?
No. It was just my wife and I that started.
Okay. And how long was it just the two of you before you started adding staff?
It was 2 years.
Okay.
And then we started gradually getting someone to help with this task and this task, and then hiring them permanently. It's been a gradual growth for us.
Awesome.
And you started the company in what year?
That was the beginning of 2016. We started with designs in 2015, but 2015, the company was registered 2016.
And you and your wife did all the design of the kit?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Has it changed much throughout the years?
We take out some supplies here and there that isn't working, that people aren't responding well to. If we see something that people don't really like, we take it out and we change it. But for the most part, our small first aid kit, which is still, our best-selling product, which is the one we originally created, it's still basically the same product.
And that's what I have. I have the small first aid kit. When we found out that you guys were coming on the show, I wanted to purchase one. It was time that Sabrina and I purchased a new first aid kit anyway. Ours is kind of old and junky. So the first things that stand out to me when I purchased it is how clear everything is labeled. And the second thing is that the material of the bag itself, the soft shell bag, is really tough. The zippers are tough. And the quality of the materials that you're putting in here. So my wife is a physician, and she was impressed with the shears, that they are quality enough to cut through cloth. And she does not call these tweezers. I call them tweezers, but she said that this is more of a hospital grade. She calls it something else. I wish I could remember the name.
Forceps?
Maybe. I don't know. She called them something else, but these are not like tweezers that you would pick up at, say, like a Walmart or Target. They're like a high quality. They got weight to them. I describe them as something that you could use to like maybe pull shrapnel out of somebody. Like they're really nice. But they're the things that really stand out to me in the bag. So when you guys were designing the bag, what made you say, oh, we got to make things clear, easy to read type, like how everything's labeled and visually appealing and make it easy to find things?
I think when we started, like I've got a bit of OCD, so things need to be nice and organized for me, and we sort of fed on that. You know, when we started, we're like, okay, let's look at first aid kits. Let's say a kit that's less than $50. What is out there? And most of the first aid kits out there, you've got a bag. They've got a lot of stuff in there. They try to stuff them as full as possible with different band-aids and a few alcohol wipes, and they put them all together. And when you open it up, it's sort of a jumble and a mess to get what you need. Like if you think about a toolbox, like we all have a toolbox and there's a lot of stuff in there, but you have time to take out your hammer and the different wrenches and find what you need. But a first aid kit, you need to find what you need immediately and take action. We said, okay, well, let's make something organized. Let's do something. Let's see if we can make something, the small first aid kit, that's affordable, but that's also really organized. So that's how we got to that.
And then the quality of the scissors and the forceps, did you have to search? I mean, how many different scissors did you have to evaluate before you picked those ones that you put in?
Many. I mean, we would go to 20 different suppliers and say, okay, well, send us what you have, and then we'll test them. You know, we'll test, and we won't just ask for one sample. We go, okay, well, send us 5. We want to see if it's across the board. Is it a quality item? So that's how we got it, and then we sourced from great suppliers, and that's how we were able to find good people and put it into a good kit.
So all of your components are not all necessarily coming from the same vendor.
Correct.
Okay.
That's a good idea too, where you said that you asked for more than one, I guess, to see the consistency of the quality, to make sure that it wasn't that they were sending you the best one out of the day.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You know, because that's exactly what they would do. They will make sure that they send you the nice one. You want to see 5 of them and say, okay, well, you know, at 5, I can at least say, okay, well, I've tested 5. You know, we also have contracts in place. Okay, well, if it isn't the 5 that I saw, then, you know, there might be a problem here or there. And luckily, you know, we haven't had that issue.
Okay.
And so let's talk a little bit about the different kits that you have available. You have the Surviveware branded kind of first aid kits, and then you have another one that's more robust or heavy duty, maybe?
So that's the survival kit, right?
Yes.
So I think the survival kit is, we wanted to incorporate what we already do, which is hygiene and first aid. And we said, like, how can we make a kit that has that, but also survival items? So what we did is we took the first aid items that's in the small first aid kit. We took our biodegradable wet wipes, and we got some premium quality survival items and put them into the same pack. And there are no survival kits out there that also has labeled compartments and organized. So we said, okay, well, we stick with organization and we bring it all together in one pack. So that'll be the difference between a survival kit and the small first aid kit or large first aid kit. They are predominantly first aid items, while, you know, the survival kit's got the hygiene and the survival items in it as well.
Oh, okay.
So after purchasing the small first aid kit, I looked at it and I said, oh, this is something that we should have had in our RV a long time ago. It's so much nicer than the one that we had from Walmart or Target. I'm not even It's a Despicable Me first aid kit. That's how kiddish our first aid kit is. But after having this one, I'm like, oh, we should have had this a long time. And now after having it, I'm like, this is something that should probably be in every RV. Is that your market? Who do you guys market your first aid kits to?
Since we are campers and backpackers, we market to people that enjoy the outdoors, and that includes people with RVs. We've got a lot of people that own RVs, and hikers, backpackers, campers. That's our core audience. The market is so big out there, going up against big boys like Johnson and Johnson. We want to take care of the people that are like us, and when they talk to us, they see, okay, yeah, these people have also been around. They also like to travel, and so that's predominantly who we target and who we focus on.
And then did something, my follow-up question to that is, did something happen to either you or Amanda that made you feel like you needed a good first aid kit? Did you guys have some type of emergency situation?
I think there's two parts. First, we both worked on the boats, and we needed to help like very high profile people. If they get hurt, we needed to be able to be prepared for that. And secondly, I'm extremely clumsy. I grew up playing rugby and a lot of sports, and I'm used to blood and getting injured. But Amanda and I were in Vietnam. We rented a scooter, and we decided, okay, well, let's take this thing up to the mountains and travel a bit. So we had a huge backpack on the back, and we had two people on the scooter, and we would take turns. Like I would be driving, then Amanda would be driving, and I'd be holding onto her, and she onto me. And we had a little bit of an accident, and the scooter fell over. The exhaust kind of burned her pretty bad. I threw over the scooter and everything, but I was like, we're here in the middle of nowhere. We don't speak the language. We're up in the mountains. We needed to be prepared better for this. So I think just on our travels, we learned you need to be prepared. Like, I don't think first aid and a first aid kit is the sexiest product out there. Until you need it, you're like, okay, well, I needed this, and then it's a bit too late. So that's how we kind of got there.
I wanted to go back a little bit to the case that it's in. The material that you're making the case out of is pretty rugged and strong. Did that take a long time for you to find that was required, or was that something you designed deliberately for it to be that sturdy?
Yeah, it's the 600D polyester, and it's got ripstop material. So, we looked at various cases and backpacks, and I think that's the only thing that made sense, especially in the outdoors. It's not indestructible. It might get a tear in, but you need that ripstop material to make it stop. And our zips too, it's not a backpack that you need to open it 1,000 times. You might open it every once in a while when you need a Band-Aid. But I wanted to make sure that we get the best products and the best supply. So our zips, you can open and close them 1,000 times, and it's certified for that. So yeah, we designed it from the start for the outdoor market, and you need something a bit more rugged for that.
So I got the small kit here. It is designed to be able to go through a belt loop, it looks like. And then you also have Velcro if you wanted to maybe Velcro it to a bike. Was that in the very first edition, or was that from customer feedback?
That was always in the first edition. Oh, wow. So I said, we need to make preparedness easy. We need to, first of all, our kits do the thinking for you. And second, we need to make preparedness easy. And that means that a first aid kit you should be able to carry it with you everywhere. So from the first, all of our kits have a system where you can mount it either to a bike, you can carry it, for the smaller ones, you can carry it on your belt. And in the larger ones, you can strap it to a headrest or something, because you need to be able to take it with you anywhere. If you think about a backpack, you've got it already full with all of your stuff. So if you've got a hard case, a first aid kit, or a kit that you can't carry on the outside of your backpack on the MOLLE system, it takes up a lot of space. So it's great that you can strap it onto your backpack and utilize the extra space that you wouldn't have if you had to carry it on the inside.
If somebody gets the kit, do you recommend any type of first aid training for them, or do you guys provide any sort of instructional use for each of the materials on your website?
When someone buys on our website, we automatically send them a first aid guide. On the inside of the kit, there's also a first aid booklet. But, that's really rudimentary. That's sort of just a refresher once you're in the moment and you've struck a blank. we recommend everybody to get first aid training, CPR training. You can only learn so much from a guide and a book. When it happens, you need to be able to take action. So definitely, we recommend everybody to get first aid training. Doesn't matter what field you are. That's always a good thing to have.
Yeah, I agree. I was in the Army for 4 years, and then I switched over to the Air Force, and I was always in the medical field. And when you're in the Army, first aid training is just kind of something that everybody goes through and learns, and it really does come in handy in everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're out hiking or mountain biking and you have kids maybe, or you figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, think about something like CPR. I don't think it's something that just comes naturally to you. Even if you read a document, it's not. You need to actually work on that on the dummy and actually feel it beneath your hands and see, okay, well, this might not be a real life situation, but at least you've gone through the motions and you've actually felt, and you know what the rhythm of it is and how fast you need to do it. So I totally agree. It's that muscle memory that kicks in.
And then if somebody has your kit and they use up some of the supplies, let's say they had an emergency when they were out hiking, they used up some of the supplies, how do they get resupplies for the components that they've used?
So at the moment, people can go to a local pharmacy and get supplies. We are working because we're getting a lot of people that ask the same question: how do I get new supplies? So we are creating a product which is a refill bag. It contains everything that the large, the small, the survival kit in terms of first aid supplies has. We'll have that on the market in 2 months. So if anyone listens to this in 2 months from now, the answer will be yes, but at the moment, no.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm glad
Yeah,
you listen to the customers and are putting that together.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had mentioned competing, maybe not competing, but you had mentioned Johnson & Johnson. How difficult is it to kind of break into a market where companies like that do exist, that have been making the hard shell cases and things like that? Is it challenging? I would imagine. I guess it is.
I think it is. I mean, these guys have got very deep pockets, and I think that's why from the start we decided we're not going to compete with that, and we can't. So why don't we go after people that are like us, that have the same interests, and let's do something that Johnson & Johnson isn't doing. They make a kit that's for the general public, that's for everybody, and they're on the on the cheaper end. So why don't we create something that people really need that isn't out there, which is the organized kit? And I think that certainly made it easier to enter the market and get our name out there. And certainly we're still trying to break into the market more and more. But yeah, I think just speaking to a core group of people that we really care about, and they realize that we care about them by answering to their needs, I think that is key.
And the product, is it only available on your website?
At the moment, we sell on Amazon and on our own website.
Okay.
And we've got plans to move into places like REI. And once people are a bit happier to go into retail stores again, that's definitely something that we're gonna go after.
Yeah, the online shopping has definitely become way more popular in the last 2 months.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've been happy with that. I feel kind of tough for the guys that are in their retail stores, and people don't really want to go in there at the moment. But it is going to bounce back, and then that's definitely something that we're going to pursue.
And then, do you sell international? Do you ship international, or is it strictly a U.S. or North American market?
We're in Canada and the U.S., also the U.K., and then also now recently in South Africa. We don't sell. It's kind of difficult to sell a medical kit and to get it through customs and things internationally. So we kind of stay away from that. But slowly but surely, we're getting our fingers into other countries. But at the moment, we like to stick with English-speaking countries just because the kits are already labeled in English. So yeah, those are the current places where we're at.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, if you were international, how hard it was to do that with a first aid kit. And it sounds like it was not as easy as just shipping to that country.
Yeah, I mean, if we were selling spoons, I think it would be easier to get it across the border. But they're like, okay, well, what do you have in here? Are there drugs in here? Like, what sort of medicine do you have in here? And it's sort of a nightmare, and it becomes really expensive. I tell the people, yeah, I'll ship to you, but when we get someone from Germany that contacts us, for instance, like, yeah, but it's just going to be a little bit more expensive because just getting things over there is a bit more difficult.
So in the 4 countries that you're in right now, are the kits the same? All the everything that's in the kit is the same then?
Everything is the same, yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. And
I
what are
wasn't
you? Oh, go ahead, Kenny.
I was just going to say, I wasn't sure if anything needed to be changed as far as federation rules or laws, or I don't know, who knows? That's, just any strange things.
At the moment, they're the same. Once we start getting feedback and people that say, for instance, in the UK, kits are normally green. A first aid kit there is normally green instead of red. But we still go with the red one, and people seem pretty happy with it. But that might be something in the future that we need to change, because red is not their color for first aid. So it's kind of strange to see the different countries and the things that they have.
Okay. Oh, I'm glad I used the word strange, because that's, to me, is something not strange. Obviously, it's just different. But yeah, I didn't realize that. Sean might have known that because he's more international than I am.
No, I had no idea.
Okay.
No idea at all.
We're always learning on this podcast, Sean.
Now, what are your favorite parts of the kit?
My favorite parts are the fact that I can carry it with me. I love cycling, so I carry one of these always with me on the back, and I don't see people that have them too often. So it's nice to know that if someone gets hurt, I'll be able to help them, and if I get hurt, I can help myself. And the fact that they are organized is extremely important to me. Even if you're not an organized person, if someone gives you something that is already organized, then you would keep it organized because it's already there for you. So that's definitely the 2 things that I like about the kits.
Yeah, I like the organization piece too. Our first aid kit that we have now is just in a plastic container, and it's all jumbled up. So organization would definitely be helpful, especially in a time when you need first aid, right? That's got to be the most important time, when you need organization, because you need to be able to get to stuff quickly.
And I'd like to add to that too, the organization, not only for yourself. Say you and I had the same kit, Sean, where it sounds very similar with the plastic and it's just stuff thrown in. You might have a system, but if you're out and about and you need help and a stranger comes along to help you, they don't know your system. With this being so organized and clearly labeled, anybody can pick up this first aid kit and be able to apply help to you, which I think is kind of somewhat important.
Yeah, no, definitely. I totally agree with that. Sometimes that's why it's red. People need to see it. So maybe you're in your car and something happened, and they would be able to see it because it's the bright red color. So, and then they can help you with the kit that you have. So, yeah, that's a very good point.
How did you guys come up with the name Surviveware?
I thought, well, I was kind of stuck on the name. I was like, well, why don't we be the Tupperware of the survival world? I thought, like, maybe I should steal a bit there, and we could have like a global name for our survival items, and that's how we got there.
Okay, very cool.
That's clever. Yeah.
Yeah, very.
Do you guys go to any trade shows across the US?
We haven't been to any trade shows yet, no.
Okay, so all your marketing so far for your product has been how?
We try to partner with people on blogs, YouTube, podcasts, and we try to go after people that have a really good voice, that irrespective of the size of the audience. I think if you've got a few people that really listen to you and you've got an authentic message, then those people listen to you. And if we feel that brand and that channel, for instance, is the same as what we have, then we definitely try to work with them. Another thing is that word of mouth will never go out of style. So when you contact us, we're a very personal brand. If you call our number on our website, you're going to speak directly to me. And I think, just me being able to help someone very quickly take a decision, okay, here's a problem, let's fix this immediately. And the customer sees, okay, well, I spoke to one of the co-founders here. I think that's important. And then they tell their friends. So one, we work with people that have a clear message and are authentic. And second, word of mouth, I think really helps us.
Have you noticed one marketing tool working better than another one? Does Facebook seem to outperform, say, Instagram or anything like that?
I think YouTube is doing pretty well for us.
Oh.
We're struggling a bit on Facebook, and then of course, like the sponsored ads on Amazon is really works really well, because when someone searches for a backpacking first aid kit, and you throw an ad on there, that person wants to buy it. It's a little bit different than Google, where someone might be looking for first aid kit, and that's just the start of their search. They might be looking for how to make one themselves. It's on Amazon. It's a very clear intent, I think.
Roughly 4 years in to having the product, is it going as expected? Are you what were the most challenging parts that you saw in it? Can you just kind of recap the 4 years as far as your perspective as a business owner and founder?
I think the big thing was capital in the beginning. We just took all of our savings and we put it in. Having traveled all over the world, when you go to a bank and ask for money, they're like, well, what have you done? You've been all over the world. Well, the credibility isn't quite there. So, we had to do everything out of our own pocket. Just the whole nature of it is it's capital, number one, and two, keeping inventory in. Because it's not like a product like a Halloween product where you go, okay, well, at Halloween, I'm going to sell this because it's Halloween. This is a little bit different, because if there's an earthquake somewhere, all of a sudden there's a giant spike, and then and all of a sudden people want to be prepared, or something happens, something bad happens. There's a school shooter shooting, these bad things that happen, and there's these spikes. So it's just trying to have enough capital to be able to work with these spikes that we see. I think those are the two most difficult things that we still face today and for the last 4 years.
Yeah, I think we've heard that before with other startup companies, that the hardest part of starting a new company is capital, making sure you have enough capital to actually put out the product.
Inventory.
Yeah, I think that'll always be a bit of a problem, and especially like I try to stay away from debt so that we do it by ourselves and we grow gradually and we do it our way. And we might not grow as fast as other companies can if they deployed some cool strategies to get capital, but I think we're doing it the right way and we don't owe anyone anything. So
I think that's very smart.
Yeah, Kenny and I really believe in that as well. So we always like to see companies that are bootstrapping, so to say, instead of getting in a huge amount of debt.
Yeah, I think that's the smart way to go. I don't think it's the most fun way to go, but I think it's the smart way to go.
Yeah, well, I think if you've got some skin in the game, you're not going to, your customers are your everything, and you're going to try to take care of them. While if you're working with someone else's money, if you lose it, well, okay, well, maybe I'll just file for bankruptcy. We're not in that position. Like, we're full steam and we have to care with everything that we have.
Yeah.
I think that's great. So all the sales are online. If somebody were to purchase the item, they don't like it, is it easy for them to return? Do you have a 30-day money back or anything like that?
Absolutely. Anyone that doesn't like what we offer, just call me. I'll give you a full refund and send back the product. No hassles there.
Okay, great.
Just curious, you and Amanda both seemed like you were travel junkies kind of before you started this company. Have you had the opportunity to get out and travel since you've been doing this, or has it pretty much ended your travel for the last few years?
For the last few years, we've certainly traveled a bit less. We've tried to go around the States and go away for weekends. But I think, our traveling has stopped a little bit. We don't get to travel as much as we do, but we still go overseas every once in a while. I go back to South Africa, a month, a year, and visit family there. So we're still traveling, but not nearly as much as we would like.
And right now, nobody's traveling.
Yeah.
No one. Everyone is locked in their houses and looking outside their windows. And man, like, people appreciate things a lot more that they took for granted 2 or 3 months ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And when things do open back up, as now things are opening back up, I would imagine that you guys see a spike in sales. We just heard from KOA anyway that the people are more interested in the outdoors and camping now more than ever before, because everybody's been locked up. People are really antsy to get out there again.
They're super antsy. And, I go up our neighborhood and there would be a few people that walk their dogs every once in a while. And then they said, okay, well, everyone should stay at home. But people don't really listen. I see so many people walking outside now because they're like, I'm I'm sick of the TV. I just
Yeah.
want to be outside. So, and I think a lot of people are going to be introduced to the outdoors that haven't done it before. So I kind of agree. I think, people are going to enjoy the outdoors a lot more in the next few months in this summer. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, we went, I'm here in Northern Virginia, and we went to Shenandoah Park, Shenandoah National Park, the first day it was open. And we went later in the afternoon. It was about 3:30, and it took us probably 40 minutes waiting in line just to get into the park. People are definitely gonna, I think the outdoors are gonna definitely be more a part of people's entertainment now that this pandemic has happened.
Yeah, I totally agree. Even before the parks opened around here, we went to a park. We just drove past. It was clearly closed, but there were so many cars outside. Like, people just still go through. They refuse to abide by the rules because they really just want to be outside. So yeah, I totally agree.
And first aid's an important part of being outside, I think.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
I'm curious, have you guys approached any companies saying, would they like to have one of your first aid kits in, say, a travel trailer? When the customer purchases it, it comes with almost kind of like marketing, but not really. But I mean, it'd be a nice little bonus if someone purchased a travel trailer, it came with your first aid kit, or an RV, or maybe a Jeep Wrangler, something like that. Has that ever been talked about, or have you tried?
I haven't tried that, but that's a great idea. Maybe going to dealerships and saying, hey, because our large first aid kit, for instance, you can just, the Velcro material on the back goes into the material that's in the back of the car. You can just strap it on vertically with the Velcro. So, that really makes sense. And, the smaller kit in a trailer or in an RV, that really makes sense. So I haven't explored that yet, but that is an amazing, great idea.
Oh, okay. Look at me, Sean.
Yeah,
I got a good idea. Every once in a while, I'll have a good idea. But it would be something for the company as well to say, hey, if you buy one of our RVs, we are, included with our RV is the Surviveware first aid kit. It's something for them to tote as a plus.
Yeah, now that you say it, it sounds like something that should have been very obvious to me a long time ago.
On the website, I noticed that there is an FDA approval for the kit. Is that for the entire kit or certain pieces of material, because it is first aid, that it has to be approved by the FDA?
So the FDA regulates any medical device that's imported into the country or that's made here. And the first aid kit is considered a medical item, or a medical device. So the entire kit is FDA approved. The supplies inside, if it's first aid items, it's FDA approved. Our survival kit, we've got the hygiene items and the survival items. Those are not FDA approved, but all the items inside in terms of first aid is still FDA approved.
I want to go back to the wipes just for a second. Were those out before the first aid kit?
No, they came later.
I've heard about the wipes for a couple of years now, so they've been out for a couple of years.
They've been out for a couple of years. I think we were one of the first people that said, okay, well, if you're out camping, if you think about normal wet wipes, baby wipes, they're made of plastics and they can take about 100 years to degrade.
Yeah.
If they're left outside in nature. We have biodegradable wet wipes. They're made from viscose materials. So in 6 months to a year, if you were to bury this after doing a number 2 in the woods on the trails, it'll completely degrade. So, we've done the testing for them. I've done that at a laboratory. I've personally done the testing in my backyard with little flags that I plant, the different stages of the development. And, after 6 months, you just can't find them anymore. They're gone. So I think that was important for us to say, okay, well, if someone goes like, how can we get a product that would help people instead of them using baby wipes? Can we use biodegradable wet wipes?
And I think that by itself is a sign that you guys really care about the outdoors. And you're doing this because you care about the outdoors. Whereas some of the bigger companies that are making these wipes are not as in touch with the outdoors. So they're not concerned about the environmental effects. So I think that's a really key thing for people that are looking for first aid kits for because they love being outdoors and want to have that protection, that should be something that they look at, is how environmentally friendly is the company that's making this product. And just that, having those biodegradable wipes, I think, is a huge sign that you guys are doing it for more than just the dollar.
No, thanks for saying that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And Kenny and I, we associate ourselves with companies that, I'll just use Battleborn Batteries for an example. They're a major sponsor on our podcast, and same thing. They are developing these batteries not for the dollar, but because they want to save the environment. And it's little things like that I think outdoor enthusiasts need to really pay attention to when they're shopping for products to use, is how much skin in the game does the company really have.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, I listened to the interview that you guys had with the CEO of Battleborn, and yeah, I can tell that they really care, and they've got the product in their hands, and they work really hard to make sure that they give the best to their customers. I think that's really important.
Yeah,
they're good people over there. I have another question about your first aid kit. You had mentioned that you put it on your bike and you take it out, so it's really made for outdoors. Is it water? Is the small kit water resistant?
It's water resistant, so it's not waterproof. I would not submerge that because your internal supplies will get damaged. But we said, okay, well, it's water resistant, but if it does get submerged, we've got little laminate baggies on the inside. Everything is kept in its own laminate baggies so that the water will come in, but the supplies will still be safe. But then we decided, okay, well, how do we take this? How do we make a truly waterproof first aid kit? Not a box first aid kit. How do we make a truly soft shell waterproof first aid kit that still has labeled compartments? And that took a year of designing and trying to get this ready. So we created our waterproof first aid kit, which we started selling in the beginning of the year. And it's IPX7 certified. So you can submerge it for 30 minutes underwater at a 1 meter depth. And what we did is we used a new material, and we had welded seams around it. And on the inside, the inside is still labeled compartments. So how do you get the stitching in there without compromising the waterproof? So that was a really difficult challenge that we had to overcome, and we finally did it. So yeah, so we do have a fully 100% waterproof first aid kit, and that's for boaters and people that enjoy kayaking.
Yeah.
And it's very buoyant. So yeah, so the other kits that are made from polyester are water resistant, but we do have the one made from tarpaulin that's 100% waterproof.
The first thing that comes to my mind is the whitewater rafting. I would imagine that's where that would really come in handy, to have a system like that, a first aid kit that's able to withstand that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guys, I don't think they would be in any sort of water for deeper than 1 meter. I mean, you shouldn't go diving with it.
Right.
But if you're submerged for a short while, everything is going to be good. And it's still a soft shell kit, which means you can still put it in your backpack and squish it together, unlike a box first aid kit. And you can still strap it to the outside of your backpack if you go through torrential range potentially. Everything on the inside is going to be safe.
Was that something that you were hearing from your customers, or is it something that you guys wanted to make?
It's a combination of both. People would say, why isn't it waterproof? And I'm like, well, okay, it's just water resistant, but let me think about it. And so we really worked hard about it. I said, there's nothing else like this in the world. Nothing else like it. We designed this ourselves. This is unique to our brand. And I thought, if we could really crack this, I think we could really add something good to the world, something that isn't there before, that hasn't been made before. And so maybe a bit of pride that comes in there. Maybe we can do it first, and also a little bit of customer feedback. Listen, we need a waterproof first aid kit as well.
A lot of people, me included, didn't realize the design to make something like that waterproof was so complicated.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be easier, but I would get one, we'd make it, I'd submerge it, and the bubbles will come through. And I'm like, oh, no, this didn't work. And then go back to the drawing board. Like, what did we do wrong here? Why isn't the zipper working as it's supposed to be working? And then the most difficult part was just getting the labeled compartment sleeves on the inside, but not using thread and needle, because then you'd compromise it. So that was kind kind of tricky. But yeah, it took longer than maybe it should have, but we got there in the end.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
What's good to hear too, though, is that you are still heavily involved in the development. It's not like you're passing this on to somebody else to figure it out. That's pretty cool.
That's what I enjoy the most. If I was just doing accounting the whole day, that's something that I want to pass on to somebody. Like the design and the making of the product is the fun part. That's what I want to do all day long.
Well, I think that is all of our questions. Is there anything that you wanted to add or anything that you think that Sean or I might have missed?
I think you guys, we covered everything. I think it's just important for people to know if, obviously get first aid training. And second, when you buy a first aid kit, just make sure that the organization, in my opinion, is extremely important. And I think, whatever you do in terms of preparedness, just take care of the organization and you'll make things easier for yourself.
Yeah, and we'll put links to your website and your different social media in the show notes so people can go there and check out your kits and see the different sizes and what's contained in all of them. So all that will be linked in the show notes. We really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk with us.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Kenny. I really appreciate the slot that you got here for Survivor. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. It was very interesting to hear the story of Janco and Amanda. Coming to the U.S. as a foreigner and a nomad is not as easy as it sounds. It's great to see the entrepreneurial spirit alive and well in fellow travelers. After we recorded this episode, I purchased one of the first aid kits. We carry it when we are hiking or biking. The soft shell makes it easy to carry. We have the link to the Surviveware website in our show notes, so go check out what they have to offer. We will be back in 2 weeks, and until then, safe travels, everyone.
This episode is brought to you by Battleborn Batteries, the best name in the RV and marine industry. These lithium batteries are designed and assembled in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. The best solution for your battery anxiety, so go check them out at battlebornbatteries.com.